This podcast is brought to you by Flipper, a marketplace to buy and sell websites, stores, and digital real estate. Plot your own path. Become a boss by buying a small online business at Flipper. Simply visit flipper.com/techtalks for a free consultation and 50% off fees. That's FLIPPA, flipper.com/techtalks. If you do visit, let me know how you get on. But now, let's get the show started.
Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where today I want to talk about the world of email marketing. Now, before you tune out and say, Neil, email is dead, or we have email-free Wednesdays, stick with me on this, because I think we all need to have this conversation. And if your business sends messages from a do not reply email address, you especially need to listen. But I want to talk to you about the future of email marketing, how the inbox is quickly on its way to acting like a web page, and so much more. So today I've invited Tom Kulzer onto the podcast, and he is the founder and CEO of a company called Aweber. And he's going to share his story that began way back in the 90s on dial-up internet. And he's going to share insider tips from his experience growing Aweber from this small startup to a robust organisation with over 100,000 customers, all without relying on public or venture funding. And I think he's also going to come on here and share strategies to help improve your email marketing and automation strategies to ultimately attract and retain more clients. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to New Hampshire so we can speak with Tom now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hey, thanks for having me, Neil. My name is Tom Kulzer. I'm the founder and CEO of Aweber Communications. So Aweber manages email newsletters, marketing automation for small businesses around the world. So our platform is a software platform that allows those small businesses to build, a following of people that they're able to communicate with via email. So a lot of people think about email marketing as a sales-only tool, and it's certainly very popular for that. But it also is used heavily for customer training, internal team member training, just general like news updates, you name it, people use email for it. And it's really cool to be a part of all the different organizations around the world that innovate with email in new ways each day.
And you have been on an incredible journey as the founder and CEO of Aweber. And for people that are hearing about Aweber for the first time, it's my understanding you offer a powerfully simple email marketing for small businesses. But I've got to ask, can you share the story behind the company and the problems that you originally set out to solve?
Sure. So when I started back in 1998, I was in college at the time, and I was selling wireless modems. So think your iPhone or Android or whatever you got in your pocket these days. So think the very slow version of that.
I had one of those, the US Robotics. I remember them well.
Yeah, well, think even slower. So this is back when we're all like still on dial-up. So anything that you could connect to the internet with was fast. Yeah. It was better than nothing. And I was basically a sales rep for a company, and I had I go to computer shows and generate interest and so forth. And I had written a little program basically that followed up with people via email over the course of a couple of weeks. That would send them, I would basically plunk their name and email into a database after I met them and talked with them briefly. And it would send them, educational information about like how it worked, what coverage areas were, how fast it was, different use cases, answered common questions, etc. And it worked really, really well, and it saved me a lot of time since I was also going to school at the time, trying to get my degree. And one thing led to another. I shared it with a number of other people that were also selling the same product, and it worked really well for them. Fast forward a little bit, I needed to focus a little more on school and a little less on, my sales stuff and competitive cycling that I was in at the time, and I stopped doing the modem thing. And a lot of the people that I had shared the program with said, like, "Hey, can I get that same program? But I'm working with this different company now. Like, can I get that same email thing for over there?" And I was like, "Well, like, I'm not really running the thing that I was doing before, and like, you can't, like, the software doesn't exist anywhere else." They're like, "Oh, that's a shame. I'd pay you money for that." It was like,
Oh.
yeah, exactly. It was like, that was the light bulb moment. And it's like, okay, well, how do I put that together? And, I spent about a year trying to figure out how to put all the pieces together to make what, was the very first version of Aweber. So, and the name came from automated web assistant, and it kind of got shortened down to Aweber. You can't shorten automated web assistant down a little bit because you end up with Awebass, and that's a very weird company name. so we tweaked it to Aweber a little, and that's kind of the history behind the name. And it's been a fun ride. Obviously, the product that we have now is much more sophisticated than what we launched with 20 years ago, and has definitely evolved drastically over the time to be able to help more and more people.
Yeah, because so much has changed in that time. You talk about 1998. I remember when CompuServe email addresses were just a series of numbers at CompuServe. So
yep.
Here we are in 2020, though. I mean, how much has Aweber changed from that original mission that you originally started out on?
Well, it's interesting. Like, there's a lot of things that were just kind of organically grown, and at the end of the day, like, we kind of define our mission as connecting people in remarkable ways. And it's very deliberately not just email. We primarily do that via email, but there's definitely, opportunities to do it in a lot of different ways. So, for example, actually, like earlier this week, we actually just launched a free version of Aweber where anybody can come in and use the product for free, and get started and really, as they're building their business, get traction before, they see the a requirement for paying a bill. So, and really driving that value with them and allowing them to connect with more people and to broaden our reach to be able to help that many more businesses and business owners and creators kind of get off the ground. We've added landing pages, which is like, basically like a website building tool, so people can come in and build websites. And with our free product, that basically means you can build a website for free, build landing pages. And we're just kind of constantly iterating to build new features based on what our customers are looking for and the problems that they're running into, but also, our own internal kind of vision around where we see communication paths going and how we can best use technology to make that more efficient and make those communications that are happening more personal. And more relevant to each recipient there. I think that's exceedingly important in delivering messages to your recipients. So, and of course, all of that's backed by our customer solutions team. I think, connecting people in remarkable ways, like, is really fundamentally about, like, serving our customers and creating these bonds that they wouldn't otherwise have. And we really kind of go the full circle of that, where a lot of online services just like have no support at all, or if they do, it's outsourced somewhere, and just usually kind of pretty terrible. And overwhelmingly, over and over again, we get feedback from our team or from our customers that they just really appreciate how accessible our team is, via phone, live chat, email, and we have 24/7 support because we support people around the world. So even though we're based out of primarily the East Coast of the U.S., we have customers all over the place, and we're available for them 24/7, quite literally. So.
And as someone that's been involved with email since those early days, are there any insider business tips from your experience growing Aweber from that small startup to a robust organization with over 100,000 customers without relying on public or venture funding? Because there's got to be some things you've picked up along the way there.
Yeah, we've definitely we've been bootstrapped the whole time. I think what early on, probably one of my biggest mistakes was not hiring team members sooner. I ran everything myself for the first year and a half or so before I hired anyone. And while that let me understand our customers' problems even better than I think others can, I think it held us back in the ability to grow faster early on. But I think probably the kind of the biggest thing that's key to growing an organization, particularly without outside funding, is just know your metrics. Know your costs around things, know what your return on spend is. So whether it's marketing spend, like how much does it cost to acquire a customer? How much does it cost to service that customer? And where are those levers where you can leverage yourself and scale in ways that are going to have the biggest return to the business? Because it's I talk about this with our team all the time. Like, we have an internal kind of project list of like all the different ideas that we've gotten from our customers, as well as all the different ideas we've had internally. And at any given time, there's 1,000+ things on that list, and it can be kind of overwhelming to look at and say, well, wow, we need to build all of these things. But each one of those things has an opportunity cost of, whether or not you do it now or you do it later. But it also has actual like implementation costs and potentially like ongoing running costs that change, what it necessarily costs to service any particular individual customer. And I think that the more you know your overall metrics, and the more that you can kind of systematize those across the business so that other people can make smart decisions based on knowing those metrics, really helps you grow more efficiently over the years, and really lets our team at large, spend the money like it's directly coming out of their own pocket, so that they're going to spend it more intelligently and ask better questions about whether or not it's really a necessary expense, or it's just a nice to have, or like, you probably don't need it at all kind of expense. So I like to think that our team at large thinks about it more efficiently than other companies, and we're able to do a lot as a result, which is pretty cool.
And another big change, of course, is the inbox. Increasingly feels like it's on its way to acting like a web page now. So with that in mind, I mean, what do you think the future of email marketing is going to look like?
Yeah, well, it's not even just acting like a web page. It literally is a web page these days. So there's a technology called AMP for email. It's been mostly popularized, originated with Google, but we're starting to see support for it in Outlook and Microsoft products, as well as like Verizon, Yahoo, AOL, etc. And basically what that is it creates dynamic interactive content in emails. So think about an email that you receive that quite literally is a web page. So whether it's, real-time stock quotes, or, real-time weather, or real-time inventory levels, you could send a sale email that knows exactly how many you have left and can give, accurate data on inventory levels and whether it's out of stock. And, oh, hey, this email I sent with this thing that's now out of stock, I can change and show a different product to the other people that are still viewing the email later than, the first people that have bought it. So it's some really cool dynamic interactive content that hasn't been able to be done before. So it's definitely a change from kind of the old guard, but of static emails, but it's kind of I think of it in many ways as the future of email. We're one of the first ESPs for small businesses to actually like enable AMP in our platform, so that our customers can actually send emails that are basically web pages. So it's pretty cool.
And apologies for asking this question, because I've probably got the impression that everyone that meets you within 5 minutes finding out what you do, they're going to ask this question. But how can people improve their email marketing? We've all seen bad examples of what not to do, but are there any tips you can provide on what they can do?
Yeah, I think, well, there's tons. We could talk about for hours about this stuff. So particularly if you put somebody's campaign in front of me, it's like we can pick them apart as like what they're doing great and what they could do better. I think one of the best things, a lot of folks that I talk with, struggle to determine like what to write. And I think that the best way to come up with what you should be writing is the same email that I might send you is the same email that's probably relevant for a lot of other people. So write it like I'm writing to one person, because at the end of the day, whether you have one person, 100 people, 1,000 people, or 10,000 people on your list, it's still, when you send that email, it's still going to one person. No one sits around in a group of 10 people and reads an email together. So you have to engage with whoever it is that you're sending in my opinion, in a voice and in a manner that it is speaking to that individual and their problems and their desires and their dreams, to be able to, get the best results overall. And at the end of the day, again, kind of go back to our mission, connect in a more remarkable way. So, write something, start somewhere, because even if it's not exactly the right thing, you'll get feedback, and that feedback will enable you to do better the next time. But you're never going to get results if you don't start with anything. I think if you're looking at existing campaigns and people that might already be doing stuff, look at the page. So when you ask for somebody to sign up, if I can't figure out a way to sign up on your webpage, like, that's a big clue as to why you're not building more subscribers. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that are like, oh, I wish I could get more subscribers. And it's like, I go to the website, I'm on like the 20th click, and I still haven't figured out a way to sign up for their list. Make sure it's available. But also, once someone has signed up, there's what we call the thank you page. So like after you hit submit on the form, you'll frequently get redirected to another page right after that. Don't leave that as just like, hey, thanks for signing up, because that page on our customers that implement it is typically one of the highest converting sales pages on most websites. So make sure that you're offering something of value there that somebody can pull out their credit card and sell, buy with, because that's they've already made the commitment to give you their personal email address. So they're in a much greater position to want to buy or exchange value in whatever it is that you're doing, depending on your website. Sometimes that's relevant, sometimes it's not, but like don't leave that as like a dead end. Make sure it continues on, and you're giving your new subscriber an opportunity to engage in ways that they wouldn't have otherwise. So those are probably the biggest opportunities to improve.
I've had countless emails from listeners over the last few weeks talking about their fears and concerns around job security, while also seeing their interest rates on their savings drop considerably. And as a result, many are beginning to look at how they can invest in their future in an uncertain time. Could digital assets be the answer? Now, you might remember that I spoke to Blake Hutchinson, CEO at Flipper, on episode 1194 about how to buy digital assets and websites. In a nutshell, Flipper is a marketplace that you can buy and sell websites, stores, and digital real estate that are just ready to go. So if you do have dreams of running your own successful online business, or perhaps you're looking to exit your existing online business, my friends at Flipper can help you buy and sell. So if you're interested and want to find out more, please visit flipper.com/techtalks. That's FLIPPA.com/techtalks for a free consultation and also 50% off all fees. But now, back to the interview. And there will also be a lot of people listening that think they're actually doing everything right, but only for their emails and newsletters to go straight into the recipient spam folder. So is there any way that they can help stop their emails landing straight in that dreaded junk folder?
Yeah, well, the junk folder these days is very much driven off of overall user engagement. So when I say engagement, I mean like people opening the email and showing the images, clicking on the links that are in the email, as well as even replying to the email. Like never use the like no reply email address kind of thing. Yeah. That's just it's offensive to me as an email marketer, as somebody that's in that business. It's like, really, you're going to send something to my inbox and you're going to be like, yeah, don't write back. It's kind of like if I roll into your store, it's like, nah, we're closed right now, go away. It's like, well, but I'm here to buy something, But the higher the engagement is with your subscribers, the more likely you are to land in the inbox, and just sending engaging content. If when somebody signs up, set the expectations for how often you're going to send to them and what you're going to send to them. Because if I sign up and I think, oh, I'm going to get a monthly email from Neil, versus you actually start emailing me 3 or 4 times a day, what am I likely to do? I'm either going to unsubscribe or I'm going to hit the spam button. Yeah. And what happens if too many people hit the spam button? Well, everybody else's email goes to the spam folder as well. So you want to make sure you're meeting people's expectations around what it is that you're sending them and how frequently it is you're sending them. But there's been lots of studies around automation and personalization and segmentation that show sending more engaging messages is much more likely to result in the higher click-through rates and so forth. So using tools like segmentation. So like I always use the example of like a pet shelter where you might have cats and you might have dogs and you might be on their list, and I'm only interested in adopting a dog, but they keep sending me these cat pictures all the time. So with segmentation, it's something where you could set up Aweber or other tools to say, hey, I click on the dog pictures. And so you could add a tag to my subscriber record that says, dog interest. And you could add one to yours that maybe says cat interest. And that way, when they send out emails, I only get the emails with dogs in them, and you only get the emails with cats in them. And while that's a really simplistic version of segmentation, I think it illustrates like the ability to send more targeted messages so that you're not sending irrelevant things to people, and they're much more likely to engage then as a result overall.
And I'm so glad that somebody else out there despises the no reply emails. It's a big gripe of mine.
It's such a no-no.
But to end on a more positive note, what is it that excites you about the future of email marketing and how Aweber is going to continue to leverage technology as it continues to evolve?
Yeah, it's one of those things that continues to constantly evolve. I'm really excited about our free plan that we just launched, just because it affords us the ability to work with so many more people in all different walks of life and all different stages of their business to really see them kind of get off the ground and be viable in their businesses and what they're doing. I think AMP is really exciting from a dynamic nature there. I think there's other things around machine learning and all that sort of stuff to be able to do more of the segmentation and automation in an automated way. But email is one of those things where many pundits have written it off, and there's more emails sent these days and more email engaged with these days than at any point in the past. And email only gets stronger as an overall communication vehicle. So it's really cool, not to mention other potential communication tools that, we can leverage to, create a more a more cohesive experience across different modes of communication beyond email. So it's pretty cool. Future's wide open, as they say.
And you just mentioned a free plan there. Can you just tell me a little bit more about that and the limitations on that?
Yeah, so our free plan is come in. There's no credit card required. There's no time limit on it, and it's basically up to 500 subscribers, and you get access to all of our kind of core essential features. And then after, once you go over the 500 subscribers, basically it's $19 a month to use our pro plan that gets you access to literally all our features. There's no other upcharge for different features and so forth. And then the pricing just scales based on the number of subscribers. So obviously if you have 10,000 subscribers, you would pay more, but it's a gradual adjustment. You can check it out on our website. But yeah, it allows anybody to get started. So we've already we just launched it officially on Tuesday, and we've had thousands and thousands of people sign up, which is pretty cool. It's pretty exciting.
Excellent. And of course, we are in an age now where it's not just .com or .co.uk. There's .ai. There's so many different URLs out there. So could you remind everyone listening of your address there and how people can contact your team?
Absolutely. So you can reach us at aweber.com. It's aweber.com. And you can check out our free plan at aweber.com/free. You can find us on all the usual social channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, under our handle as Aweber. So, or you can, of course, reach out to me. I like to be super accessible. I'm really hard to find. I'm Tom at aweber.com.
Excellent. Well, there's so much value in today's conversation for me. And I think we've all seen those exaggerated headlines that email is dead, maybe every year for the last 10 years. It's clearly going nowhere. We're all heavily reliant on our email, and it's how we all communicate with each other. And it's great. What I've loved most about listening to you today is how you've been there from those early days and those long CompuServe emails to where we are now, and to where it's going to continue to evolve. So more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on and sharing that story with me. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Neil. It's been fun.
I think I'm enjoying a fantastic run at the moment because I'm genuinely just getting on so well with the recent guests, and I just want to meet them all in person. But ironically, I'm unable to fly anywhere. So Tom, for the moment, I will just salute you for taking the time to come on here and share your expertise in a way that can benefit us all. But I'm also curious. I want to hear your good and bad experiences with email marketing. What does it look like when it's done well? And what does it look like when it's awful? And yes, I do mean you guys and those do not reply email addresses. Come on, it's 2020. But whatever it is, I want you to share your experiences on here. So please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk, where you'll find 1,300 other interviews along with all the links to my social channels. If not, don't worry, because I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. I've got another guest lined up already, and we've got guests booked in every day until mid-September at the moment, so I'm going nowhere. So a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.